Okay, so I'm pleased to bring a guest in who has a brand new book. It's called Inside Unmasked Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. Andy Ngo is the author. He's coming to us from London, England. Now, you may know Mr. Ngo because he was the primary reporter on the Portland, Oregon riots caused by Antifa. They attacked him, beat him up, almost killed him. He knows more about the organization than anybody I know. Now, I have read his book. I took the time to read the entire book, and it's an excellent book. If you really want to know what's going on here, Unmasked, you should read it. And it's very well documented. It's not one of these CNN, sources close to said. Everybody's named, document right down to the lowest level. All right, first question, Andy, and thanks for helping us out over in London. What's the difference, in your opinion, between Antifa and Proud Boys?
Well, the ideologies are completely different. I do think it's fair to describe the Proud Boys as extreme because several of their members have been convicted of criminal activities before, and currently they're under investigation for alleged role in what happened on in the Capitol on the 6th of January. Antifa, on the other hand, they're much more, they're harder for people to understand because they operate as cells that are connected by networks. And a lot of these groups and cells don't even have Antifa in their name. So there's always plausible deniability in their actions. So, for example, I document quite meticulously in the book the actions that they carried out in American cities last year. And then my detractors would turn around and say, how do you know this is Antifa? Just because they're dressed in this particular way, just because they say certain things, how do you know it's Antifa? So they're organized in a way that gives them this ability to sort of deny that they even exist.
Okay, but there's enough of them in Portland and Seattle and other cities that say we are. I mean, they're admitting it. They use social media to organize, though. They still use social media to say, we're going to be here. You might want to show up there, don't they?
Yes, they do. So one question I get asked a lot is, how can we actually stop them? Well, first, big tech needs to step up. And if they're going to talk about rooting out violent extremist groups and groups that organize violence, well, they can't say that if they're only going to go after one side and allow Antifa to organize. So much of the riots that happened in Portland last year actually were organized on Twitter, for example. They were promoted and shared hundreds and thousands of times. Every day a new flyer was coming out that gave information for where people could meet. People were also creating like GoFundMe accounts, creating accounts on Cash App and Venmo to raise hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to cover everything from riot gear, accommodation, travel, weapons, etc. So big tech they're part of the problem here.
Okay, so they use that as their primary communications form. You have an interesting chapter in the book. Again, the book is named Unmasked, where you link up Black Lives Matter Global Foundation with Antifa. Do you think they work together?
They do work together. If you go to any BLM protests over the past few years, you'll see Antifa volunteering as security. And the DC chapter of Black Lives Matter, which is one of the largest in the US, their social media, their official verified Twitter account, has all these posts throughout last year calling for their supporters to come support Antifa at their various events. These two movements are different in that they have different origins and different ultimate agendas, but they have a partnership now because they share a mutual enemy in the United States. BLM makes no secret of their desire to dismantle the criminal justice system, to abolish police, to abolish capitalism, to abolish the traditional family. These are all things that they have in common with Antifa